Hello and welcome to Spardha Lines, your one-stop destination for the civil services preparation, UPSC, KPSC and other relevant examinations. Today we picked up a couple of important articles from the Hindu which are very significant from your examination point of view. Let's get started and look into the first article. The first article says, Center Assam signed peace pact with ULFA faction. Let us try and understand what is this article in greater detail. We have one of the insurgent groups in the northeastern part of India in the state of Assam called as the United Liberation Front of Assam. So the United Liberation Front of Assam happens to be an extremist organization. It happens to be an insurgent organization. What was the intent of establishing this organization? If you look at the state of Assam, Assam is a beautiful state which is one of the sister states in the northeastern part of India. I'm sorry. Whenever you speak about a state will have its own kind of culture. They will embrace the culture, they will love their culture, they would also want to carry on this legacy of the culture to the future generations as well. What if there are people from another section of the society who carry a different culture enter a particular state? Obviously, it means there will be dilution of the culture, which is what Assam felt. Assam had a beautiful culture of its own. Over a period of time, what did Assam feel? Assam felt that there were large number of people from some other state who were entering the state of Assam. Why? That is because there was economic opportunities that was unfolding in the state of Assam. How? That was discovery of oil, because of the natural resources, and also because people from the state, couple of other states in India like West Bengal started moving to the state of Assam. So the culture of Assam was being diluted is what some of the people in Assam felt. Added to it, we also had the issue of East Pakistan and West Pakistan. East Pakistan eventually goes on to become what is now Bangladesh as well. During the period of 1970s and 1975s and 1980s, what you also witnessed is increasing scale of refugee crisis. What happened? There was a war that was emanating and there was war that was present between East Pakistan and West Pakistan. There was internal turmoil as well, and as a result, large number of people from East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, started entering Assam. So the people of Assam during that period in the 1970s felt that their culture could be diluted, and as a result they started speaking to the government of Assam and also to the government of India. They felt that there were large number of people who originally did not belong to Assam. Now that they are in the state of Assam, their culture could be diluted, and as a result many people started interacting with the state government of Assam. They also started interacting with the union government as well. Despite all options, they felt that the government of the state and the government of India did not take any action. So they were exasperated with this particular idea that the government is not doing enough for such people, and as a result a group of people came together. They created an extremist organization, created an insurgent organization, and that organization is what is called as the United Liberation Front of Assam. So these people are the extremist organization. They felt that the government of the state and the government of India, which is the Union of India, was not respecting the emotions of the people of Assam, which is why they wanted to take up arms against the state of India and also ensure they have an independent country of Assam. So a group of radicals led by Bhim Katka, Buragoy, Arvind Rajkov, Anup Chetia, Pradeep Gogoi, Bardeshwar Gohen and Paresh Burha formed ULFA on April 7, 1979. So what was the objective of establishing ULFA? They wanted to establish an independent country of Assam. They wanted to have a sovereign country of Assam. So in order to establish sovereign Assamese nation, they took upon the government of India and the state, and that was the intent or the objective of ULFA. So ULFA happens to be an extremist organization, it happens to be an insurgent organization, and ultimately it wanted to cater to a particular group of people who wanted to establish an independent Assam. So whenever you have a group or an extremist organization, what it requires is a constant funding. So how does the funding come? Do they have any natural resources that are under their control? No, because that is under the control of the government of the state as well as the government of India. So what do? Since these are the areas that are under the control of the government, they actually go about kidnapping the people. They actually ask for some ransom as well. They go about extortion racket as well. They also kill people who are against their ideology. They also import arms from another country. They also enter into smuggling activities as well. So all the illegal activities that are persisting in that particular society will be enabled by this insurgent organization, and ultimately they will ensure that this entire section of the people are into such illegal activities, primarily to make sure that they are able to get money to ensure that they have their illegal activities churning. So this happens to be an insurgent group, and this insurgent group did not have any economic basis of its own. Why? Because they are not collecting the taxes. They are not a government established by the people. They do not believe in the democratic process. They do not want to contest the elections and ultimately form the government and bring about a change when it comes to the national manifestation, but instead they choose an alternative of taking arms against the state. So how else will they make money? They will have to get it through the alternative source, and for that they make use of all illegal activities. This illegal activities involve smuggling, narcotics, drugs, so on and so forth. And at the same time, in order to keep them under check, the government will also take up action as well. While there are insurgent groups that are operating in the country, no state or no military or no police officers will keep quiet. So the Union of India created a program or started a program or an operation in the 1990s called as Operation Bajrang. This Operation Bajrang wanted to eliminate these insurgents who are operating in the state of Assam. And at the same time, we also have the central government which called this area as a disturbed area. Immediately president's rule was also imposed in this part of Assam, and AFSPA was also invoked by the government of India. While these activities continued, so the insurgency increased on one side. On the other side, what you also have is government of India taking action against this group. So as a result, one section of the people of ULFA, let's say for example, for a hypothetical explanation sake, there are about 100 people, about 10 to 15 people, they came out of it. So those people who came out of this original ULFA became what is called as the surrendered ULFA. So the surrendered ULFA were the people who found peace with the government of India, and they also started supporting the government of India. What did they do? They indirectly started acting as the messengers for the government of India, and at the same time, because there was support of the government of India and the respective state to these surrendered ULFA section of the people, they also started helping the government of India, and at the same time they also killed their own men because the government of India requested them to do so. So they did make a lot of sacrifices, they did surrender to the government of India, they did keep away their arms as well, but for the sake of the country and the state, for the peace to be established in the state of Assam, because the ULFA was deviating from its original agenda, these people felt, we are not going to seek anything, all that we want is peace and tranquility in the state of Assam, so we will join hands with the government of India. And they joined hands and they started eliminating those who were against the peace and tranquility in the state of Assam. So surrendered ULFA came into the picture. But despite all efforts, it did not continue to lay arms. Why? That is because these people were not only operating in the state of Assam, they were also present in Myanmar as well. This had become a safe haven for all those people who are present in Myanmar, and at the same time, there were remote corners in Bangladesh as well as in Bhutan in which these people were also started operating, and they also had a close nexus with the criminal gangs in Bangladesh as well as in Myanmar. So these people are the insurgent groups. They have to keep churning the money somehow and they have to extract the money. So what do? As I initially told you, they conduct illegal activities. But the government of India had executed Operation Bajrang, so on and so forth. So now these people are operating in another country. So in another country, there are criminal gangs as well. So they started cooperating with these criminal gangs and also also with notorious criminals as well. So these ULFA people who are now present in Myanmar, Bangladesh, and some were also present in Bhutan, they had a close cooperation with Harkat-ul-Jihadi Islami as well as Al-Qaeda. In fact, Paresh Burha, who happened to be the commander-in-chief, also reportedly met Osama bin Laden as well. And these were the people who all came together, and ultimately they wanted to ensure that there is sovereign Assamese nation. But India did not allow that to happen. In fact, Pakistan was one happier country during this entire proceedings. Why? Because it got the support of another insurgent group, and Pakistan's Inter-Services Agency or the intelligence ISI reportedly trained few ULFA insurgents in the past. ULFA openly supported Pakistan in its monthly newsletter Swadhinata during the Kargil war as well, and because there was support from other countries like China and also from few extremist organizations and from ISI of Pakistan, they continued with their activities. But during the year 2011, there was a major divide in ULFA. In ULFA, there was one group which was led by Rajkova. There was another group which was led by another person who happens to be Paresh Burha. So there was two groups that were split, one led by Paresh Burha, the other happens to be led by Rajkova. Rajkova felt from 1979, we have been fighting this endless war. Who are the suffering people? We had an intention of making sure that there is peace and tranquility and ensure that the cultural aspects of Assam are given to the future generation. We are not able to give that up. Why? Because there is a lot of violence that has been perpetuated by the group, and as a result, from the year 2011, there were two groups that were split. One was headed by Rajkova, the other was headed by Burha. So the one that was headed by Rajkova felt that we have to go in peace with the government of India and the respective states. So from 2011, are on talks with the government of India, and Paresh Burha basically felt that this aggressive act of violence should be perpetuated. So what does Paresh Burha do? Paresh Burha basically says that you, Rajkova, will have to come out of this particular group. So he was deleted from that particular group, eliminated from that particular group, and was thrown out of that group. But Paresh Burha continued to engage in violence, perpetuating violence in the state of Assam. But Rajkova joined forces with the government of India, and ultimately these forces, who are now representing one force of ULFA, joined the government of India in ensuring peace and tranquility in the state of Assam. So what are we speaking about? We are speaking about Center Assam signed peace pact with ULFA faction. Which is this ULFA faction? The ULFA faction that we are speaking about is led by Rajkova. So basically there were two groups, one which was headed 2005, ULFA formed an 11-member People's Consultative Group comprising noted intellectuals in Granpith Award, which include late Indira Raymond Simon. Arvind Rajkova 2008 onwards would again strive for peace talks with the government. However, Paresh Burha was staunchly opposed to the talks, consequently expelled Rajkova from the outfit. Rajkova led pro-talk ULFA faction also expelled Burha, paving the way for the major split in ULFA. While Burha floated his own ULFA called as ULFA Independent, the majority of the outfit joined the peace talks under Rajkova. So this peace organization, this peace group or the splinter group of ULFA is now entered into a tripartite agreement with the government of India as well as the government of Assam. So they basically go on to say that we will give up arms, we want peace and tranquility in the state of Assam, we want developmental programs, provide all basic amenities to the state of Assam, ensure that the culture of Assam is kept intact, and they have also pointed out 12-point charter of demands to the central government. So similarly, if you go back and look into the times, the government of India has also entered into number of agreement with number of extremist organization. For example, NLFT agreement in 2019, Brew and Bodo agreement in 2020, Kirby in 2021, Adivasi agreement in 2022, Assam Meghalaya border agreement was settled to a certain extent, Assam Arunachal Pradesh border agreement and agreement with UNLFA in 2023 are some of the major initiatives taken by by the government of India. So the government of India in the past has tried to establish peace in the northeastern part of India, and at the same time now they have entered into a tripartite agreement which involves a faction of ULFA headed by Rajkova. Then we have the government of India as well as the government of state who have entered into tripartite state to establish peace in the state of Assam. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says 11th century Jain sculptures discovered in Varuna village. What is this article speaking about? The article here is speaking about Jain sculptures. Whenever we speak about Jain sculptures, which are also nothing but the Jain idols, they are the images depicting the Tirthankaras. So the first important point that we have to understand is whenever a discovery is made, where was this discovery made? This discovery was made in Varuna village. Where is it? This Varuna village is in the state of Karnataka in the district of Mysore. So that can be very important from your preliminary examination point of view. So they'll ask you a question. Recently there were Jain scriptures that were discovered in a certain part of a state in Karnataka. Where is it? It is in Varuna village in the district of Mysore in the state of Karnataka. That happens to be the first preliminary important factor. That apart, we also have to understand what are these Jain sculptures. Jain sculptures or the Jain idols are nothing but those images which are depicting the Tirthankaras. Who are the Tirthankaras? Tirthankaras are the gurus. Tirthankaras are the people who have been enlightened. Tirthankaras are nothing but the saviors or the spiritual teachers or dharma pracharaks, those who have understood what is righteousness, those who have understood what is dharma, those who have understood what is right, those who have given up the idea of acquiring materialistic comforts and they have reached the liberation. Such people are called as spiritual leaders or gurus or Tirthankaras. So the Tirthankaras are nothing but the preachers of dharma, preachers of righteousness. What is right? What is wrong? What is the right path that one individual has to take? How is that an individual will have to liberate himself about the worldly pleasures, come away from the worldly pleasures and ultimately move away from this life cycle of life and death and move beyond it and ultimately attain liberation or moksha. So these are the people who understood the true nature of self, ourselves and the soul, and ultimately whenever a person attains this nature of Tirthankara, he would have understood Kevala Gnana or the Gnana of omnipresence or the knowledge. There are 5 auspicious events called as Panka Kalyanaka which mark the life of every Tirthankara. So remember, we have something called as Panka Kalyanaka, which nothing but 5 auspicious events. What are these 5 auspicious events? Let's say we have a Tirthankara. So whenever we consider in Hindu culture, Jain culture, Buddhist culture or Sikh culture, we have something called as the soul. So when the soul of a person enters the womb of the mother, that is what is called as Garbha Kalyanaka, which is called as conception. So the soul enters the womb of the mother, which is called as Garbha Kalyanaka. Then what we have is Janma Kalyanaka, which basically means that this soul has attained a body and is out of the mother's womb, has taken birth, which is called as Janma Kalyanaka. So the soul is present in the Garbha, and once the Garbha, that is the mother gives birth, that birth giving process is called as Janma Kalyanaka. Now the Tirthankara or the soul has taken a body as well, and then over a period of time, this Tirthankara with his knowledge, with his sacrifices will attain Gnana, and once he attains Gnana, he gives up the worldly pleasures, and after giving the worldly pleasures, he attains a lot of knowledge and gives up the worldly pleasure, which is what is called as the Tapa Kalyanaka, which is nothing but renunciation. So once he gives up the renunciation, the next process is called as Gnana Kalyanaka, which is nothing but he has infinite knowledge, is able to acquire the knowledge, is given up on his worldly pleasures, he does not want to enter into the area of violence, he wants to move away from this life cycle of life and death, and he has attained the process of finally what is called as Nirvana Kalyanaka or the liberation. So during the process of Gnana Kalyanaka, he also moves beyond Samavasarana, which means divine preaching hall. So as and when he attains this knowledge, he would also bring people will start listening to him, he'll start preaching, and that hall where he meets the people and starts giving the Gnana is what is called as Samavasarana. These happens to be part of the Panka Kalyanaka. These are some of the important factors from your preliminary and your mains examination point of view. Now let's look into the next article. This article says Bengali writer Mukhopadhyay receives Kuvempu Award. This article once again is important from your preliminary examination point of view. So remember, we have the Bengali writer Mukhopadhyay who has received the Kuvempu Award, and this can be asked in your preliminary examination. So the first important factor that we have to understand is about Kuvempu Award. The Kuvempu Award is basically given in the memory of Kannada writer called as Kuvempu. Kuvempu is known as a person who is known as the Rashtrakavi in the state of Karnataka. So the Kuvempu Award is instituted in the name of Kuvempu. Kuvempu's original name happens to be Kuppalli Venkatappa Puttappa. This happens to be his original name, and whenever this Kuvempu Award is given, there would be a cash prize that will be given to the writer. The cash prize would be as much as 5 lakh rupees. So 5 lakh would be the award, and at the same time there will also be a silver medal that will be given to the person, and a citation would also be given that he is given this Kuvempu Award. So 5 lakh silver medal and a citation. So this was instituted back in the year 2013 by the Rashtrakavi Kuvempu Trust, and this was instituted in 2013 basically to ensure that all those people who have been contributing to the literature of India and all those languages that have been recognized by the Constitution of India, in case they write it in any of these languages, such people should be honored with the Kuvempu Award. And if we are speaking about Kuvempu, he happens to be the first Kannada writer who happens to receive the Gnanapita Award. So who was the first person to receive the Gnanapita Award in Kannada language? It happens to be Kuvempu. And as part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section, we have Kuvempu who has received the first Gnanapita Award. For which novel or for which writing he has received this is what you have to put on the comment section. So he has been called as Rashtrakavi in the year 1964. He was also called as Karnataka Ratna by the government of Karnataka back in the year 1992. He has also been conferred Padma Vibhushan by the government of India in 1988, and he has also written Nadagite for the state of Karnataka. These are some of the important factors that we have to remember from the preliminary examination point of view. Now let's look into the next article. This article says a call for disability inclusion that must be heeded. What is this article speaking about? The article here is primarily speaking about that on the day of December 3rd, what we celebrate is the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. So we actually observe this day basically to see that there are people who have difficulties, there have people who have disabilities. These people should be highly included, they should be made part of the society, they should be inclusive in the society. So there are major impediment and an obstacle that a person faces. So all these impediments and obstacles have to be eliminated, and they should be considered truly inclusive as part of the society is what is this article all about. So basically whenever we speak about this section of the people, what they also require is the rehabilitation services. So the article goes about providing the means and the ways of how rehabilitation can be provided. This is a technical article that is written by the author. All that you have to understand from this article is that we have certain aspects of rehabilitation that can be provided. So for example, if there are majority of the people who are suffering, let's say for example from the Parkinson's disease, or for example Alzheimer's disease, there are as many as 2.41 billion individuals who are conditions that require rehabilitation. So these people will have to be taken care of. So there are government services, for example the government hospital, private hospitals, and there are people who are involved in providing rehabilitation. These people should all come together and should provide rehabilitation to such individual, and at the same time there is need to encourage medical professional, medical service providers as well, and the public health officials to consider rehabilitation as an essential service, and at the same time the rehabilitation services should be redesigned in such a way that it includes neurological and mental health problems. So these people will have their own set of problems. So when we say disability, it is not just the movement or hearing or eyes, so on and so forth. There will be mental disability as well. So for such people people, what we have to ensure is to make sure that we have rehabilitation accorded to such individual. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this article. Now let's look into the next article. This article says Indian Navy unveils new epaulettes for admirals. The article here is speaking about new epaulettes that has been designed by the Government of India for the Indian Navy. When you consider these epaulettes, initially what we had was the influence of the British when it comes to the epaulettes. This has now been redesigned, and what we have is new epaulettes for the admiral. So if you have this particular insignia, it is for the admirals. Then this is for the Surg Rear Admiral, this is for the Rear Admiral, this is for the Vice Admiral, and this is for the Search Vice Admiral. So depending on the number of stars, depending on how it is designed, depending on the color combination, what we have is this epaulettes and the insignia that has been represented for the people who are working in the Indian Navy. Why these changes were introduced? That is because the earlier tradition, what we had imported was the colonial imprint one, which was the hangover of the British. Now what we have brought about is a new change. So we have the golden navy button which is present here, which reiterates our resolve to do away with the Gulam ki Mansita. Then we also have the octagon as shown in the image. This represents the 8 cardinal directions indicating of an all-round long-term vision. Then we have a sword as shown in the image. This happens to be the sword. This emphasizes the very essence of raison d'etre, which means cutting edge of national power and win wars through dominance, defeating adversaries and overcoming every challenge. And we also have a telescope. As you can see from the image, this happens to be a telescope. It symbolizes a long-term vision, foresight and weather eye in an ever-changing world. This has been a change that has been brought about by the Government of India for the Navy. And for this, what they have imported is the naval insignia, which has been inspired by the Raj Mudra of Chhatrapati Shivaji. This can be another important factor. So this entire concept of Raj Mudra has been imported from the Raj Mudra of Chhatrapati Shivaji. These are some of the important factors from the preliminary examination point of view. Now let's look into the next article. This article says students question center's decision not to hike Maulana Azad scholarship. What are we speaking about? We are speaking about Maulana Azad National Fellowship Program. This fellowship program is given for a 5-year period in the form of financial assistance to students from 6 notified minority communities. Which are these communities? Buddhist, Christian, Jain, Muslim, Parsi as well as Sikh. And these are notified by the central government to pursue MPhil and the PhD degrees. They are implemented by the Ministry of Minority Affairs through pursuing regular and full-time research studies leading to award of MPhil PhD degree within India only. If they are pursuing outside India, they would not be given this fellowship, but if they are continuing MPhil or PhD programs in India, only for such people what we will be providing is the Maulana Azad scholarship. So these people, the implementing agency would be the UGC University Grants Commission, and the main support will be provided by the Ministry of Minority Affairs, and UGC will be the nodal agency for implementing this particular program. If at all there is an individual who happens to work during the fellowship, will this person be entitled to the fellowship? No. Immediately the fellowship will be cancelled because he has another means as well as ways. So only those individuals who are full-time into fellowship, who do not have any other avenues, only such people will be given this fellowship. The income ceiling of the parents or the guardian of the candidate for Maulana for the minority students will be 6 lakh per annum. The decision of UGC in regard to awarding is final. So in case they decide that there is an individual who has fabricated the data, has not given the data, then if the UGC so decides, it can immediately cancel this entire fellowship, and ultimately whatever the decision that has been made by the UGC will be held correct, and this will be implemented. In case any candidate obtaining fellowship fraudulent means, the cancellation should be automatic and the amount disbursed shall be recovered with interest at prevailing State Bank of India rate for the student loans. So if at all there is an individual who has given fabricated data, fraudulent data, this individual's whatever fellowship amount has been already disbursed will be recovered by the UGC. How? That is because this person has given the fraudulent data. So that amount will be recovered and interest will also be collected. What will be the interest rate? For example, if let's say the State Bank of India is giving home education loans to the people who want to educate themselves. So it is charging interest rate at a particular percentage, so this interest rate will be imposed on such individual. In case of if a research is found engaged in part-time employment as ad hoc teachers, teaching assistants or research assistants or any other type of employment, their fellowship will be discontinued as well. So these are some of the important factors from the preliminary examination point of view. Now let's look into the next article. This article says India-Hong Kong bus synthetic diamond trading syndicate. This article here is speaking about the syndicate diamond. This article here is speaking about synthetic diamonds. What are these synthetic diamonds? Synthetic diamonds are nothing but laboratory grown diamonds. We have the natural diamonds that are present. These are naturally occurring. Then we also have lab grown diamonds as well. So the lab grown diamonds is what is called as the synthetic diamonds. What is the difference between natural diamonds and synthetic diamonds? These are developed from when it comes to the natural diamonds, they are developed from the geological processes. When it comes to synthetic diamonds, they are developed in lab via chemicals. What is the weight? The weight of a natural diamond will be heavier. In comparison to the natural diamond, the weight of the synthetic diamond will be comparatively lesser. Then we have something called as the fog test. When fog forms on the diamond, it will clear almost immediately, but fog takes a few more seconds to clear on the artificial diamonds or the synthetic diamonds. Then when it comes to the reflection, light shining through the diamond's prism tend to come out shades of grey, but light coming through the synthetic diamonds prism in rainbow color. These are some of the important differences between the natural diamonds as well as the synthetic diamonds, which is once again an important aspect of your preliminary examination. Now let's look into the next article. This article says India closing in on lithium deal with Argentina tapping Australia and Chile. One of the important factors from the preliminary examination point of view is we have something called as the lithium triangle. Which are the three countries which are part of the lithium triangle? One, what we have is Chile. Second, what we have is Argentina. Third, what we have is Bolivia. So how do you remember it? We have three countries, A, B and C. If you can remember three countries A, B, C of South America, you will remember the lithium triangle. So A stands for Argentina, B stands for Bolivia, C stands for Chile. These are the three countries which are part of the lithium triangle. So India has now entered into contract with couple of countries from Australia, Chile as well as Argentina, basically to explore lithium. And if we speak about lithium, India has over the last year intensified its reach for the critical mineral including lithium. The alkaline mineral is also called as white gold. So which mineral is called as white gold? It happens to be lithium. So countries have entered into agreement basically to explore lithium. Is what is this article all about? It is this that we have to understand from today's Hindu analysis. So thank you for watching. All the best.